Animals suffer from various problems in nature. They even suffer from electrical wires because they do not know they are dangerous. They get very close to these dangerous places. In fact, the end is often tragic. Watch as we look at top 10 moments animals get electrocuted. Here are some common situations where animals can accidentally come into contact with electric sources and get electrocuted. 10. Building nests. Breeding birds building nests on or near electrical equipment such as power poles or transformers. Breeding birds can pose a significant risk of electrocution if they build nests on or near electrical equipment such as power poles or transformers. This is because nesting materials can come into contact with live wires, causing a short circuit and potentially electrocuting the birds. In addition, if birds touch the device while it is live, they can also be electrocuted. Some species of birds, such as raptors, are particularly vulnerable to electrocution due to their large wingspans and tendency to perch on tall structures, including power poles. To prevent electrocution of nesting birds, power companies often install specially designed nesting platforms or insulate power poles to prevent contact with live wires. 9. Large mammals. Large mammals like elephants coming into contact with power lines while moving through their habitats. Yes, large mammals like elephants can also come into contact with power lines, especially when moving through their habitats. In many parts of the world, power lines are often strung through or near natural habitats, which can lead to the accidental electrocution of large animals. Elephants in particular are at risk of electrocution due to their size and the fact that they often travel long distances over varied terrain. They may accidentally touch power lines with their trunks, tusks, or other body parts, resulting in fatal injuries. 8. Trapping animals in electrical substations. Animals can sometimes become trapped in electrical substations, which are devices that transform voltage from high to low or vice versa. These facilities may have equipment that can be dangerous to animals if they come into contact with it. For example, there may be exposed wires, transformers or capacitors that can cause electric shock or burns. Animals that are attracted to the warmth or shelter of the substation may accidentally come into contact with this equipment and cause injury or death. Additionally, animals that become trapped in a substation can cause power outages or damage equipment, leading to potential safety hazards for people. 7. Birds flying into wind turbines or solar panels. Birds flying into wind turbines or solar panels can be a significant problem. For example, wind turbines can cause bird strikes, in which birds are killed or injured when they fly into the rotating blades of the turbines. According to some estimates, wind turbines can kill up to 500,000 birds a year in the United States alone. Similarly, solar panels can cause bird strikes when birds mistake reflective surfaces for water and collide with them at high speeds. To mitigate these risks, some wind farms and solar facilities have implemented measures such as noise sources, radar systems, and bird-friendly designs to reduce collisions with birds. 6. Accidental fall of animals into pools or other bodies of water. Yes, animals that fall into pools or other bodies of water that have power lines or appliances can also be electrocuted. This can happen if electrical wiring or appliances are faulty or not properly grounded. And electrocution can occur if the animal comes into contact with electrified water. It is important to make sure that all electrical appliances near water sources are properly installed and maintained to prevent such accidents. 5. Animals climbing fences or other structures that come into contact with power lines. Yes, animals climbing fences or other structures that come into contact with power lines can also be electrocuted. When an animal touches a structure that is in contact with a power line, it can create a path for electricity to flow through the animal's body, causing electrocution. Therefore, it is important to keep a safe distance from power lines and never touch them or anything in contact with them. In some areas, wildlife organizations work with power companies to install wildlife protection devices on power lines and structures to prevent animals from being electrocuted. 4. Fish swimming near power plants or hydroelectric plants. Yes, fish swimming near power plants or hydroelectric plants can also be electrocuted. These structures use electricity to generate power, and sometimes electrical currents can leak into the water, electrocuting fish and other aquatic life. Fish can also be affected by strong magnetic fields created by power plants and dams, which can disrupt their navigational and sensory systems. To prevent electrocution of fish, some power plants and dams have installed fish protection systems, such as screens and barriers to keep fish from getting too close to the electrical equipment. 3. Animals chewing electrical cords or wires. Many animals are used to chewing and gnawing on electrical wires, but there are certain animals that are directly associated with this aspect of the behavior. Rodents such as rats, squirrels, raccoons, mice, moles, and other species are notorious animals that will constantly chew on electrical wires whenever they come. Animals chewing electrical cords or wires are another way animals can get an electric shock. This is especially common in rodents, such as rats and mice, which are known for their constant gnawing behavior. When they encounter electrical cords, they may chew on them out of curiosity or to help wear down their ever-growing teeth. This can leave wires exposed and create a risk of electric shock or even fire. To prevent animals from chewing on electrical cables, it is important to keep cables and wires out of reach, especially in areas where animals are likely to be found. Using cable covers or protective hoses can also help prevent animals from accessing cables and potentially electrocuting them. Additionally, keeping areas where rodents are likely to be found, such as basements and attics, clean and free of debris can also help deter them from chewing on electrical cords. 2. Small animals climbing into transformers. Animals are one of the biggest causes of customer outages for almost all electric utilities worldwide, after human and other factors. The problems and mitigation techniques are as varied as the animals involved. Identifying and addressing the underlying physical causes is often the most cost-effective way to resolve reliability issues. The most common technique is to install plastic animal guards on grommets and insulators to prevent squirrels from touching the tank and phase conductors at the same time. Small animals, such as rodents, climbing into electrical boxes or transformers is another common way animals are electrocuted. Small animals are often attracted to the warmth and shelter provided by electrical boxes and transformers, but can easily be electrocuted if they come into contact with exposed wires or metal parts. This can be especially dangerous for rodents, who are known for their ability to gnaw on wires and other materials, increasing the risk of electrical short and fire. To prevent small animals from being electrocuted, it is important to ensure that electrical cabinets and transformers are properly sealed and maintained, with no exposed wires or metal parts that animals can access. In addition, keeping the area around electrical equipment clean and free of debris can also help deter small animals from entering and potentially electrocuting themselves. 1. Birds landing on power lines or poles. The birds sitting on the wire do not touch the ground or anything in contact with the ground, so the electricity remains in the power line. But if a bird touches a power line and equipment or other metal that is around it, it will give electricity a path to the ground and the bird could be shocked. Whether you're driving down a country road or just staring out the window at the street, there's a good chance you'll spot some birds on power lines. Bird watchers know that power lines are a great place to look for a variety of perching birds. So what attracts birds to power lines? Power lines are part of the modern landscape, and birds have learned to integrate them into their daily lives. Wires offer a convenient place for birds to roost, especially if there are no tall trees or vegetation around. The presence of power lines in some parts of the world has actually helped some species of birds expand their ranges into desert and prairie areas where tall vegetation is hard to find. Birds use power lines to rest, nest, and even hunt. Birds landing on power lines or poles are one of the most common ways birds are electrocuted. High voltage electricity in a power line can jump to a nearby object, such as a bird's body, causing a fatal electric shock. This happens because birds' bodies conduct electricity due to their high water content. The risk of electrocution is even greater when birds land on power lines that are not properly insulated or have faulty wiring. In addition, birds can also be electrocuted when they land on poles that have been electrified by faulty transformers or other electrical equipment. Overall, The best way to prevent bird electrocution is to ensure that electrical lines and equipment are properly maintained and insulated, and to ensure that birds have safe places to perch and roost away from electrical hazards. And there you have it. Top 10 Moments Animals Get Electrocuted. Be sure to hit like. Subscribe to see more incredible wildlife moments like these, and do share and comment. Until next time,